our attitude is life, as long as life force is in the body, is the most precious gift. It's not ours. It's borrowed. This is a healthy also attitude. So we have to take care of that, and it's our primal responsibility. We tend to ourselves, then we are in a position to tend to others. So that is the key message. So if there was a possibility for you to retreat for a prolonged period of time, so this to anything next to that. So look into this. What would be next to that in all the set of intentions and possibilities that life presents you with? And soon as you find yourself tempting to and find immediate justifications, well, I want to live life, in order to live life fully and enjoy it, you need to regain plumbness. So it's a catch-22.
A lot changed since Mallorca already, and just still changing, which is good, but also very challenging at the same time, because it brings up some things that are still not really, I just don't know how to shine a light on it myself. And I noticed that it's a pattern that keeps coming up no matter how much I meditate on it or look at it, and it's connected to making decisions and trusting or knowing what's good for myself, what is my intuition and what is not. The theme again, coming back to decisions, I don't even know how to structure my life now because I'm like, okay, what is best for me? Where do I place myself? And when I go back to, okay, I'm living in the moment because I know there's no pressure of time, and I also want to give myself the freedom to change, and then things change as well. But now I'm not really sure where I live next week and don't have a job necessarily. So I'm like, okay, that's also not healthy or not good for my state right now because I need some stability. And again, I want to engage in life. So my question is more so, I don't really know how to set myself up and make decisions that don't feel like they are constricting me in a way.
I hear you. If you are, I totally understand, but if you are now to distill it, right? What is the most here feels as the main, let's say, predicament in this? What do you feel yourself? And then, of course, I would be more than happy to reflect.
To where and how to.
So is it effectively speaking down to how do you pay bills? How do you know?
No, it's not about.
Not just about the practicalities of how you go about. So this is why I'm asking you now to distill it. Just make it like, let's say now with all that what you've shared, right? With reference to what we spoke about in Mallorca, and which is great to know that you feel that, and I understand why it's challenging. So now can you just give me that summary, please?
To boil it down, it's where to place myself in the world. Where I know I belong, which is also obviously connected to my body as well. And it now rippled into decisions like, where do I even live and what do I work? It's more so, where do I place my energy? When I'm faced with making a transition or making a change, I'm terrified. And I don't really know myself why. And so I keep asking other people, or again, I'm insecure in my own decision making. Because also, again, I'm very sure when I sit and meditate and I'm connected, but then I do it, for example, and I'm not happy anymore because it flips so many times. And I can even see it from the teaching. Yeah, it's like I have the full broad spectrum and trust and joy, but then the constriction happens and the wave hits me and I'm just like lost.
Okay, so, and this is relevant to everyone. So what now feels like fitting to reflect is relevant to everyone, to many people in this room, not just to yourself, even though I'm speaking to very, very specific, let's say, phase in your life that you're going through now, then you have to go through.
It's even, I know it's a pattern that is always linked to, in my case, specifically in my life, to survival. Like I brought it to, in the past, to my body, even to a survival level. And now it's like living, like I don't have a roof. And I'm not I know that nothing can happen. I mean, yeah, I'm going to make it, but it's always like triggering the survival. And I don't know why I always bring it to that point. But now it's not the body anymore. Now it's something else.
Yes, totally. So let's now maybe begin with reminders first, and then we'll go back to this, what is relevant to most of us. That part about the residue, how the residue would make itself felt so that you don't feel like you're failing somehow. Everything that we, let's say, whenever we are faced with changes in life, it's utterly and entirely inconsistent with the way of life, that just on the account of us making these decisions, that everything from now on will proceed in a completely new, renewed manner. No, the residues of how we lived, how we related, will keep resurfacing. So this is the part that is relevant to most of us. With regard to what now, very pertinent to what I wanted to make sure that you really connect to that in Mallorca, and I'm glad that that seeped through, that found its way, is that the priority number one right now is for you to go through that process of rehabilitation so that you can find that vitality. See that, like, you need to nourish yourself, nourish your body. You need to, first and foremost, to find that way where that what is associated with this very strong psychosomatic expression that results in this, whatever that can be called, whatever it's like, related to, is it called anorexia? Is it called this? What is the proper term? Is there a term?
It would be probably that, yeah.
Right? So it's something to do where the body seems to not holding that nourishment. It's like you told me and you shared that you eat.
I mean, now my body definitely is already responding to it. That's what I mean since Mallorca. Like I feel a lot more energy and a lot.
Yes, I could feel that too, and even in your voice as well. And one thing is that, remember, in our interactions, I did tell you that you have a very strong mind, right? A strong mind. So in a way, it's like your mind, when you speak and everything, is there, sound, and the body is like lagging behind completely, as if something at this level. And we spoke about the variables, what could have been the cause of that, right? We've addressed that. So you are in that phase of complete and utter rehabilitation. Like literally, ideally, let's say, if there was a possibility of ideal situation, you should be checked into a cabin somewhere in nature, you see? and soaked in the analogous way of life. You see? Like literally back to the pre-modern era, back to where there was no distractions, when we did not have an additional organ grew on our body, which is basically a digital device. Like literally back to hello, please leave a message when I come back home, I'll call you back. You know. Hi, this is Kathy, please leave a message. Like back to those good days when there were much less distractions. If you go for a walk to a park, you flip and go to walk to a park. You know, you're not taken to a park by your phone. You know, this is crazy.
I know.
I'm saying that to myself, to everyone. We live in a pandemic and it's unstoppable. Kids, everything, unstoppable. I can share with you this, the whole thing. When I saw in Mexico little kids sitting on the steps of the houses, little kids with their parents' mobile devices, I thought, my God, this is crazy. But my own little one doing the same thing now. Because in the way how life is, sometimes that's the only immediate solution. You see? And then it's, let's give her this, let's give her tablet at least, so it's not a phone. Constant battle. All the kids forget it. It's like a fight, who will win whom, Trying to establish for both elder kids 1 day without a phone. Period. Completely. And they all go around it, like they go around it. See? So, back to this. Analogous. You see? If this was an ideal situation, I really would have wished you to be somewhere where you have gone through something like the classical example of Maya Tiwari, for example. I would like you to get her book. That name, Maya Tiwari. A woman who was career, all that happening, living in New York, I think she was living of Indian descent, but she was like busy, everything, until she was diagnosed with a pretty bad form of cancer. And, she was told that it's so progressive that she was almost given the death sentence of just a matter of time. And yet she withdrew completely. She withdrew exactly into that situation. She left her life behind in a radical way. And she became how Maya Tiwari is known today. She became one of the first, very first, female authorities on Ayurveda, implementing the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda for self-healing.
Yeah, I was in Switzerland for 4 weeks, which was amazing, without anything and just around mountains, and that already helped. And I even spoke to Sundari to go to India, but then I was like, am I just running into...
India is not a cabin.
No. I haven't been.
I wouldn't go to India, for sure. If you ask me, no India. You have to go to India with a very strong digestion, really, really being like India can give a kick to a healthy person whose health is robust, depending where you are. No, I'm talking about cabin in pine forest, in Alps. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Switzerland. I'm talking about retreat, British Columbia, North Carolina. I'm talking about like large reserves of area where life is different. If we are to hypothesize ideal situation. But that is to make an impression so that you understand what is required truly. You see? What is truly required? All this helping others whilst you are deteriorating, and rapidly so, with an extreme case of anorexia, is a no-no. That's what my message was in Mallorca. So this is why my advice was to you to completely and utterly revolutionize the way you work.
Which I have.
Yes, so which is great. So it will take time. So therefore, there needs to be this internal realignment, which in turn brings about the possibility for external circumstances to follow. Unless we do these internal realignments. And this is something may sound unfair, particularly if some of us believes that we are so circumstances ridden. This is almost right now unscientific. It's not only illogical, it's not only irrational, it's actually not supported by what we understand reality to be today. Our circumstances follow the internal predispositions that we have.
I know that.
So if you know that, then this would give you the indication that you cannot at all lie or pretend to yourself. Any amount for that will boomerang instantaneously. So this is why example of Maya Tiwari is given, because it was nothing short of radical. She wasn't just like, forgive me, housewife, suddenly diagnosed. No. A woman with a busy career, like really like busy, in New York. And she realized that she will have to now square her accounts with the primordial question of life and death. And it wasn't a joke. It wasn't just maybe. And maybe back then that type of cancer was not at all treatable, because she was given a death sentence. Simply, that's how it is. And she realized that, well, a total and utter realignment of all resources required here. And that means literally to say farewell to a lot of what a whole life was about, pretty much everything. Of course, at that time, she didn't know she will become Maya Tiwari, who is highly respected in the field, who is being considered as a living example. You hear about this person, this woman had out-of-body experience and she's watched by millions. It's not a big deal. I don't want to mention names. She's been all over the place. She had out-of-body experience and she took us into, I know how it is. I know what death is. No, you don't. Out-of-body experience is not. Near-death experience is not death. It's near death. Nobody knows what death is, and yet on every channel, everywhere, she talks about death. And I know what death is, and I'm not afraid. No. Nothing changed in the life of this woman. In the case of Maya Tiwari, everything changed. Everything. So she becomes the epitome of that. She becomes a living example of the potential present in us. Not only she healed herself, as she indeed did, but she became an authority. Authority on something which was just like somewhere, maybe ancestral memory of her, parents coming from that part of the world where this knowledge was kept alive. So that's what I wish for you. That's what I wish you to wish for yourself. Before you are given that extreme privilege and extreme responsibility of working with others, you need to have this complete and utter physician, heal thyself. It has to be. That physician, heal thyself is a rule of thumb when it comes to the certain professions. Otherwise, we perpetuating in something very, very, very undesirable eventually. So, but that realignment also now needs to take the phase where the circumstances around you, the way you live, how you pay bills, everything needs to change in accord with that internal, complete and utter remake. Because if it doesn't take place, if you're somehow thinking that this is just a phase, just like a short phase, you are in for a big surprise again. You see? So it has to be a long-term strategy. A long-term strategy.
That's why I'm overthinking it so much, because I'm...
Yes, rightly so. And since it is a long-term strategy, you need to apply a very different understanding here. Yes, there is this immediacy of the situation. Immediately, how things can work out immediately, you see? But if not much has changed in relation to, if there is this, it's as simple as that, Kathy. There comes a time when we can't have our cake and eat it too. That's all. We can't. We can pretend, we can run around, and many of us can do that until life places us in a situation. Nope, it's not gonna work. Literally, no way, not an inch. It's not gonna move from here. And it is one of those. So therefore, any of this, like how I used to be, how my life used to be, how these aspirations, like this is what it means: complete realignment, complete remake of all the values, the understanding that primal responsibility in this moment in time is rehabilitate myself. Rehabilitate myself. In the process of that rehabilitation, a lot of things will be revealed. A lot of things will be learned. The true sense of stability and happiness will be found. The true sense. You see? Most of us, in any case, are one way or another believe that happiness is object-based experience. You see? But objects-based experiences are all basically, sooner or later, leave us with a sour taste in the mouth, not sweet taste. So before we truly enjoy something, in that respect, anything, there needs to be a complete and utter 180-degree turn. That 180-degree turn is when we understand where the objects of our desire gain that what makes us go for them in the first place. Why the sweetness derived from experience with objects gives sweetness in the first place. So that status, it's the inner status. The inner status. Without that inner status, everything is a waste. Complete and utter waste. And believe me, I just touched that life, just like even in my 30s, I spoke about that. Including with the stars, like people who people who made it in a colossal, in a massive kind of way. A whole barn there, the whole, it's not a garage. You open, it's like 20 vehicles parked there. 20. Not just any vehicle, not to transport yourself. Everyone is a collector item. And the guy is as miserable as anything. Miserable. Not happy. See? Can you imagine a motorist who really, really appreciates this? What a joy it can give. And he's unattached. What a combo. But the money can buy anything these days. At all times, why we say these days. So the importance here is primary focal point of your attention now. Right now, the priority is yourself, your health. The body needs to get into that place where you feel at home in your body, you see? Where you feel at home. And that in itself is a challenge, you see? Something is being learned here. Like someone dealing with another aspect in their life. Something. Maybe the body, one much, don't think about it. Something else present a set of circumstances which are extremely challenging. No one is exempt. But in your case, it's all too apparent. That's what you need to do. And this realignment necessitates to become an analogous person. A person whose life force no longer leaks in any of these outlets where it is scattered. You see? So asking for that, where would that be most conducive place for me, for my process of rehabilitation of the body? I'm open for that. So if you think that it can be done just like in a hurry, whilst you think, no, you have to, this is why already in Mallorca I said that you need to give yourself time to repose and spend this time in literally redressing what is it that you're asking, what is it that you really want.
Exactly.
Yes, it's very important. Because if you don't know what you want, then there is everything put on a pause. You see? It's just on a pause. Don't let her decide first. Let's not make decisions on her behalf. Well, I'm just saying like this divine energies, these beings, this. Or God in heaven sitting on a cloud, that white man with a beard.
Judging if it's good or not.
CEO of heaven. Right? Says, nobody presses any buttons. Pause button. She needs to see what she wants. Let's not like, these earthlings are constantly messing us around. One day they this, then they this. It's like, can we just like, always giving them this, like we sent Prometheus to give them fire, like always giving them some chances, and they always like need to look at it, of course, with the pinch of, right? Like, yes, it's nothing to laugh about, but it's good that we have the capacity to laugh. And I told you that you have a lovely smile already in Mallorca, remember?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, usually my nature is I'm like, everything is, just take it a little bit more lightly, and it's.
Yes, that's why you are a survivor.
Yeah.
See? But now, a different mode, right? Survivor now moves to the thriver, right? Survive, no, not enough, thrive. So you need to thrive now, thrive. And for that, the body needs to have plumbness, see? To enjoy. So even if this job, Fendi, Shmendi, this...
I don't care about that
No,
anymore.
that's, I'm saying, like, even the job materializes, fantastic. But if we don't have health to enjoy, what it cancels itself there and then. It completely cancels itself. The best offer, the best opportunity becomes just like almost as if a joke, a cosmic joke. So this is why you need to find a way to give yourself this repose where very clearly. You ask for what you want. And on a therapeutic level, the turning away from social media, from the role of doing this, right, is paramount to conserving that energy. Conserving that energy, you see? Being bored completely, it's the best thing for healing. When you know there are only one healing modality that is granted. Guess what that is? Deep sleep.
I was just about sleeping, probably.
Yeah. It's only in deep sleep that the true check takes place. But we don't sleep. Deep sleep is a very short phase. We dream most of the night. Dream. And then there comes a phase, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. That's when we experience deep sleep. This is the complete and utter healing. That's the only time when we truly heal. Oh, no, we heal all the time, everyone tells us. You know, you go for a walk and just Google healing mantras. And you know what it will come to you? It will come a whole list of, I'm abundance, I'm this, I'm this, like I'm that. The whole list will come up with, it takes an extraordinary trained mind to do this job. Because healing does not take place at the level of the mind. Although they say mind rules the show and sets everything in motion, and in fact, mind can make us miserable, mind can make us happy. That is true. But when something needs to be healed, mind is already impotent. It only exercises, or rather the mind's usability here is only to making the right decisions so as to allow the mind to settle. This is the best decision that one can make in terms of what the mind should. Like, if anything mind can say there, it's like, all right, I've created a lot of mess. I've created a lot of mess, I understand that. Okay, so I promise I'm going to step back now. Okay, thank you, mind. And please just keep it quiet now, like a good doggy. All right? So now something else is going on here. This is when the mind is truly, truly of use and like some purpose. Otherwise, it's just on a spin of continuous spin. In deep sleep, every level you speak about it, from whatever level, the exposure to the waves that go through the nervous system. These are waves that are impossible to experience when mind is active. See? And mind is active even in a dream state. Senses are withdrawn by pranic currents into the mind. So mind is active. This is why is it that we sleep, get out of bed, exhausted? Exhausted. Even in the body exhausted. How come? I just slept for 6-8 hours, come out of bed, I'm like tired. Why? Too much mental activity. And that saving grace, that deep sleep. See? So this is why meditation, it's like doubling deep sleep for access to samadhi in meditation. This is why it's a must. So your continued meditation is a must.
Yeah, but I mean, again, like the last weeks I've been meditating for hours and hours.
You don't need to meditate for hours. No,
but
no,
I like
no.
it.
No, not for hours. No. Okay, well, very good you mentioned that. Your nervous system cannot take meditating for hours. No, you can't do this. Even to meditate for hours, it's like that much is good, very beneficial. Of that same thing, that much could be detrimental. Why? Because prolonged phases of meditation, there are a lot of changes in metabolic activity. And if it is accompanied by active life force, as it is currently in your case, then there needs to be fuel to fuel that. It needs to be fuel. There needs to be a lot of ojas. To meditate, you need to have a lot of ojas. These principles of yoga, ojas, tejas, and prana, right, as the refined substances of the raw substances here, is paramount to create the possibility for long hours of meditation. Only few people can do that. Only few people can afford to do that. Even those who are much plumber than you in the body, much plumber, even they would be advised against that. I never advised anyone ever to meditate for hours. No. Very good you mentioned that.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned in the beginning. That's easy for me. I can be in that state all the time.
But do you hear what I am saying?
I know.
That you can't afford to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have 30, 40 minutes sitting in the morning and the same amount in the evening, and that's enough with the rest. So the hour at most, the whole program. At most. 40 minutes, 45 minutes, we're here just up to 45 minutes. We only few meditations we had here were 45 minutes. Many meditations were shorter than that. In advanced programs, we go for a whole hour of sitting. But in groups like this, 35, 40 minutes is more than enough with the intensity of the process. So let's establish this. No more prolonged sittings. You meditate, touch that level, okay, and then you go about your daily life, conserving as much energy as you can, doing as much nothing as you can, staying away from any distractions where your life force goes. The best is to even communicate that as a conscious message, not to, like, people do this back in the old days of the Facebook. Oh my God, I've been consumed by Facebook. I'm done. I need to concentrate on my creative enterprise. I need to write a book, or I need to do this. So, sorry folks, I'm out of here. I'm taking sabbatical for a whole week.
Day.
Exactly. For a whole week. Sent message, went for a walk, come back, how many likes? How many messages? Oh yeah, what attraction. I'm leaving Facebook and already like, we're gonna miss you. This is before emoticons. So emoticons are all this like haptics of this like,
Yeah.
faces made that's like, crying this like, come back soon. Are you kidding? Like, it's just like life turned into, I don't know, into charade. If people are serious about it, they're never going to message any of the kind thing. So you really want to take sabbatical, like whom, what? We alienate ourselves from people who are near to us and find great friends on Facebook. Suddenly I found distant relative who lives somewhere in, I don't know, Sakhalin, next to Japan. So I need to now make connection, it's because it's a day and age when Facebook allows us to truly feel united as a world family. This is destroying us rapidly. Deterioration on a mass scale. So this is why analogous person. See? Literally like, that's what I meant. If there was like funds available, if there was like, yeah, Kathy, cabin, check yourself in, get bored completely. Like, like nothing to do, I don't know what to do. And then in these conditions, tremendous healing begins to take place. You see? going on prolonged period of silence, speech, 75% of energy consumed, of all the available energy, through speech. Tremendous amount of energy is required for speech. Tremendous amount of energy leaked through speech. And active speech, vocal speech is the most. But this is also speech, because in order to compose sentence on this device, it's also speech. And what are we communicating? Yes, if you're running a company like Flowing Wakefulness, like we do, then maybe it's justified. Who knows? Someone will square these accounts later. I don't know. The guy in the cloud number 9, the one who said, keep the button on pause. So I just want to again encourage you as that you have to take it to the next phase. Before it was like, okay, I see now you truly make every single fiber in your being now understands what's required. And as I said to you, you see that whole notion, that new age notion, universe doesn't lie. It doesn't lie. It's very, very organized. Self-organizing power. It's very well organized. It's when we lose faith, go out of whack. You see? Get knickers in a twist for no reason, as the Brits say. You know that expression? Get our knickers in a twist. That it means like, I think it's quite all-encompassing metaphor. It covers many, many levels of consciousness. So when we are out of whack, right, and allow life to take us out of our sense of being one with life, then we, as a consequence, suffer. Often there and then, and good if there and then, you see? Because it means immediately we are given an opportunity to shed light on this, learn and adjust. But if we haven't, it goes deep into unconscious. And that unconscious part is not good at all, because then access to it is more difficult. And because by virtue of how we are wired, we cannot carry unprocessed information on a conscious level for too long. This is the wisdom of emoting, feeling, grieving, enjoying in the right time, when there is time. Never saying, I will do it later, because later will not happen. It will go underground. So, this is, no one said it's going to be easy, but you will find that there will be this flashes of brilliance, flashes of intuition, insights, downloads, and the clarity will begin to prevail. But if you want to solve this with the approach you had before, which was based on survival, scarcity, right, making it, it's not going to work. You see? So, what's the choice?
I have options, but I don't know which one is the best. It's not coming from a lack where I don't know what to do. It's more like I'm overwhelmed.
So you need to then simply what, in the case where I am, what is the most conducive for my well-being, for this phase when I come first and I need to rehabilitate myself. That's very simple. It's very simple. You can't fluff around. You can't mess around with this. Okay, so this is plain, plain clear. That's all. So then it's easier to make decisions. again, honesty is required, always honesty. So if I don't know, then I'm 100% open for insights to be guided. Okay? Not hypothetically, not just like, because it doesn't work like that. See? That guy with the button, he knows it all already, or she, or her, or it, on the cloud number 9. You can't fool, right? Because it works in that quantum field. Honesty here, that aspect of satya, that truthfulness, here is paramount to the degree of how that relates to our well-being. That's all. So we can deviate from that. We can, but life will begin to adjust us. We think we can, no, because life flows, the stream of life, that principle of Sat, Chit, Ananda, Sat here, it also exemplifies that how close we are to that absolute truth, exemplified here by that Satyam, Sat, truthfulness. And so at some points the reality check comes. So we have to adhere to that, adjust ourselves. And it comes in a variety of ways. The adjustment can be done in a very unpleasant, sometimes painful way. But we have to be grateful that that opportunity was given, because a lot more is at stake, always. A lot more is at stake. So, reflect on this, please, in all sincerity, and answers will begin to present themselves. Because you are intelligent, I would even say, like streetwise, you're smart, you're intelligent. Whatever else there works as that kind of creating friction there, you will quickly begin to notice. You see? Very quickly. Stubbornness, defensiveness, like knowing what this, that. You will see this no longer works. See? So this process of rehabilitation, realignment, which is directed towards nourishing yourself, because the attitude to the body is that of mother to a child. It's a reminder. Nobody owns this body. No one. This is why in Dante Alighieri, those who took their life are given a lower strata of the inferno. They are worse than the killers, because they took their own life. How dare? You see? The metaphysical connotations of our attitude to our well-being. So the Vedic attitude, and all along what we spoke to, is that it's our responsibility. And the balance is always there. Balance. So this is why I was so adamant in Mallorca, before we come in service of others, we have to be fully in service of ourselves, so that we can be in service of others. Yeah. Otherwise, we're causing a lot of injustice in the dharmic level, on the dharmic plane. And violating dharma, repercussions are not good. Right? Like in the Bhagavad Gita, it's better death in one's own dharma. Dharma of another brings danger. Puzzling. Why would Krishna say that to Arjuna? What can be worse than death? It's better death in one's own dharma. Dharma of another brings danger. It's, for a modern person, this is utterly and entirely inconsistent and perplexing. Well, apparently life was measured not just in, making hay while the sun is shining. It's more at stake here, always more. So when you were, I remember in Mallorca, you were saying, I don't care, if I meant to die, I die, remember? That, we never speak about this, you see? Our attitude is life, as long as life forces in the body, is the most precious gift. It's not ours. It's borrowed. This is a healthy also attitude. So we have to take care of that, and it's our primal responsibility. We tend to ourselves, then we are in a position to tend to others. So that is the key message. So if there was a possibility for you to retreat for a prolonged period of time, so this to anything next to that. So look into this. What would be next to that in all the set of intentions and possibilities that life presents you with? And soon as you find yourself tempting to and find immediate justifications, well, I want to live life, in order to live life fully and enjoy it, you need to regain plumbness. So it's a catch-22. If you see this as a catch-22, you are in a good place. Do you see what I mean by that catch-22? So Fendi was a test, but it's also a reminder, yeah, so what? I get this job and what? Just sleep on it, reflect on it. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.